Hi everyone and welcome back to Yachty. My name's Tim Vine. In late October 2025, I was invited out to Fiji to sit down with Luke Butchers, the skipper of a 2023 Lagoon 77, and speak to him about the boat, the designs and systems that he implemented through the build, and his journey so far. So please enjoy.
Welcome, Tim. Thanks for coming out to join us on board Manaia in Fiji. We're just wrapping up our Pacific season for 2025. It's been an awesome season out here. We've really enjoyed the whole South Pacific experience. It's been a great part of our 2.5-year trip that we've done since we got the boat in August 2023. My name's Luke Butchers. I've been a skipper of Manaia since she was launched in August 2023. Since then, she's had an amazing whirlwind tour of one of the best cruising regions of the world. We started off in Bordeaux, France, did a bit of the Med cruising on the south of France, Spain, Sardinia and Corsica. We then crossed to the Caribbean and went and explored the BVI in the Bahamas, before heading up north into Bermuda, the Azores and back to Croatia, Montenegro and Greece for our second Mediterranean season, which was my favourite part of the Med. It was just unreal. After that, we wrapped up our European part of our tour, made our way back to the Caribbean, where we explored the southern half of the Caribbean from St. Vincent and the Grenadines all the way up back to the BVI. So we made sure we covered off the whole eastern part of the Caribbean. After that, we wrapped up our Caribbean exploration, made our way towards Panama. We explored the San Blas Islands before transiting through the Panama Canal. As a skipper, it's an experience I'll never forget. Going through the canal was pretty magical. It's one of those things that people talk about, but a really cool part of our tour. We then made our way through the canal and into the South Pacific, which for all the crew on board, which is myself, my fiance Sarah, and our two crew, Quade and Jody, the highlight of our maritime careers cruising across the South Pacific. We departed Panama in start of May, cruised out to the Marquesas Islands in northern French Polynesia, before making our way down to the Tuamotus and then onwards towards Tahiti. We had a little crew break there before we continued our season on, got out into the Society Islands, then across to Suwaru and part of the Cook Islands, into Tonga, and for the last month cruising Fiji. One season's not long enough out here in the South Pacific. It flies by, but some absolutely incredible experiences out here, from wildlife, snorkeling, and just the people of the South Pacific are some of the most friendly people you ever meet. Honestly, I'd go back and do this trip again in a heartbeat. And what's made this trip partly so memorable is the boat we've done it on. Manaia is an awesome platform for cruising out here. Lagoon 77, tons of living spaces, tons of space to carry all the gear to make exploring this part of the world so accessible. We were really lucky. The owners gave me tons of resources to set the boat up really well for cruising out here. We've got the big Williams diesel jet tender for longer snorkel and on-water adventures. Our little 3.8 metre high field for taking to the beach and accessing some of the more remote little villages and towns out here in the South Pacific. Snorkel and dive gear, we've got fully kitted up for doing dive activities. We've got flight boards, paddle boards, all the gear you need to really explore out here and make the most of these magical places. A bit about the owners. They're Australian owners that bought the boat with a vision to spend the last 2.5 years, as we have done, making the most and exploring some of the world's best cruising destinations. They've come from previous boats, and what we looked for when putting this program together was a boat that enabled us to access all these magnificent places without the inconveniences of a really big boat, but still all the creature comforts and luxuries that people have come to expect on modern luxury cruises. The boat itself, we've set it up with 4 guest cabins and 2 crew cabins. It's a fantastic layout for that kind of cruising we've done. A lot of the time we've had just the crew, the owner and his wife on board. They love more relaxed cruising, so probably in most of the destinations we've gone to, probably been half the time of just the owner and his wife, another half the time of them having guests on board and entertaining. 6 people on here, which is what they'll do a lot of the time when they've been entertaining. just fits into the boat so well. With so many lounging spaces, living spaces, you'd never feel like you're on top of each other. Tim and I are sitting out here in the back cockpit, massive space, easy room to sit 10 or 12 people comfortably. Rolls into the saloon, into the forward cockpit, and upstairs. You got 4 quite distinct living spaces, which really allows everyone to spread out, have their own space, and relax. We quite often do. It's quite a relaxed style of cruising that we like to do. We quite often do a morning activity and an afternoon activity, and the rest of the time, a lot of relaxing, enjoying longer lunches, enjoying sunset drinks and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of lounging time, which is great. People can spread out, read a book, relax, and not feel like they're on top of each other, which is one of the really good benefits of going to a boat of this kind of size. One of the big things for us in choosing a boat was that we wanted a boat that wasn't limited. One of the great things about the Lagoon 77, it sits under that 24-metre rule, where a lot of things change, from insurance to manning requirements. Being just under, you get all the benefits of a larger boat without having all of the inconveniences of a boat that's into that 24-metre plus category. Welcome to the owner's cabin on board Manaia. When the owners were looking for a new boat, one of the biggest things we were after was a nice large master cabin. Because they're spending such long periods of time on board, they want to be really comfortable in their cabin and have some really homely features. A large walk-in wardrobe was a pretty big part of it, as well as a decent sized ensuite. This ensuite for the cabin had a nice large shower, twin sinks, and again, all the storage and stuff you need like you are at home. Another thing for the owners was, and they didn't make it easy for me, was wanting a large window in the master cabin. And it doesn't get much bigger than this. A truly standout feature of the Lagoon 77 is this fold-out balcony. As they're waking up, quite often the owners get up and say, "Hey, look, can we open the door up?" We open the door up, put the ladder in, they can jump in for a swim, they come back out, have a little shower, and get ready to enjoy the day. When the boat's busy with guests, they love having the privacy where they just jump in the water without waking other people up or being around everyone else. They just love to have that bit of privacy sometimes. And this is awesome. Well, here we are at the technical control center of Manaia. Nice and simple. When we were taking on this project, and my discussions with the owners was, we wanted a boat that was reliable. The last thing we wanted to happen was us be stuck in a beautiful place with none of the technical support that we needed to run and help and service the systems that we have on board. So we kept it super simple, traditional, proven systems. The electrical control system on board Manaia is very basic. We didn't do any of the fancy digital switching. Below us here is the switchboard for the 240 side of the boat. It's a standard switchboard. If we needed technical support, electrical support, any qualified marine electrician was able to assist us. Luckily, we didn't really need it at all, but it's simple. It wasn't complicated. And yes, you don't have the benefit of the modern digital switch where you can go to one place and control everything, but for its negatives versus its positives, I decided that this was a better way for us to be set up. And it's made it so easy. It's made, we've had issues, you're not trying to diagnose some complicated system. Is there's power, is there not power? And it's made it really easy to keep the boat running. We've been really lucky with this boat, A, from what we were given with Lagoon, and B, how easy it is to service, that we've kept it on the run for a long period of time. We've had the start and end of each season, service periods, we've had a little yard period, but we haven't had to spend months getting systems worked on or reinvented. The systems we went with were reliable, proven, and they've stood the test of time throughout our entire adventure. It's a really great simple system and I've loved it. What's made this boat really easy to get used to as well is the manual that Lagoon do for these boats. It is so thorough, so detailed. Tim, I could give you this boat tomorrow, give you the manual, and you'll be out of the berth in 10 minutes. It really is. And we haven't modified anything off the manual. Everything there, every modification we've done, we have a manual for. It's the technical the usefulness of that manual. I got given the manual a few months before I got on the boat, and you can step on the boat and drive away. It is so thorough, so detailed. Lagoon have spent obviously a lot of time and money to get that manual bang on. Like, every detail is there. It's awesome. One of the best boat manuals I've ever had. When we're setting up a boat, as with a lot of boats, entertainment's really important. So we largely, a lot of the stuff was factory from Lagoon. We did a few customizations. We upgraded the TV to a nice 8K TV. All the cabins have got smart TVs as well, which is really nice, especially if we're on board for long periods of time, or we're on passages to go to bed and watch a movie is quite nice. We didn't go for any of the complicated satellite TV systems out there these days. We decided just instead to use our internet. So we've got the Starlink high performance dish on board, which is great. It's been amazingly reliable. It's the first boat I've run with the Starlink offshore setup, and it's been fantastic. We have had internet everywhere we've gone without a fail, and I'll be doing it again in a heartbeat. We've been in the middle of the Pacific Ocean while on a crossing, watching the Formula One, watching the Super Bowl. We owners love sport. So recently, watching the rugby with a few South African crew, a couple of Aussie crew and a couple of Kiwi crew has been a little bit interesting, but it's been great. We're going to watch it in full high definition wherever we've been. So in the saloon, we've got the lovely big TV with a surround sound system. That system also goes out, you can watch it, have it sound out in the aft cockpit and also in the forward cockpit. We've also got surround sound upstairs in the flybridge with our little addition we made to the flybridge TV, which is a great addition to the spa experience. Every cabin has a TV. In the aft cabins and the port cabin, it's a 32-inch TV. In the master, it's a 40, so a little bit bigger for the owners on board. Again, all those cabins, as well as having their TVs, also have surround sound. It's a pretty important thing to talk about in a sailing boat, sailing systems. Again, continuing on our theme, we wanted proven systems. You know, a lot of cruising boats now are going into fancy furling systems and fancy in-boom and in-mast furling. We wanted to keep it really nice and simple. So for us, we have a traditional slab reefing square top mainsail. For foresails, we have on a hydraulic furler, genoa and a staysail. We've also got a Code Zero, got a new one coming. And then we've got a spinnaker that runs in a sock. It's been a really good sailing setup for us. Simple, reliable. I really can't fault it much at all. Lagoon produce thousands of boats. They know how to produce reliable, simple sailing systems that work. So as well as the hydraulic furling system, which is fantastic, we also have fully electric winches. So all the 5 electric winches on the flybridge are all electric. Most of them are all 2-speed. We've got one 3-speed winch designed for hoisting the mainsail. We've also got an electric traveller system. The sailing controls in this boat are fantastic. They're all led to one place. Once the sails are hoisted, you never need to leave the cockpit. Even to hoist, you don't need to leave the cockpit except for setting up the Code Zero or the spinnaker. All the sheets come back to the helms. It's nice and easy to run. We run the boat a lot of the time, just the sailing side of things with 2 of us, and we do a lot of manoeuvres on watch on your own. You can put a reef in on your own, you can unfurl, furl the Code Zero on your own. It's fantastic. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing about it. Here on the swim platform, I know we keep saying this boat has a lot of great spaces, but another great space. This platform can lift up to 1.5 tonnes, and we have our Williams Diesel Jet 505 on it. We went with the Williams Diesel Jet for a couple of reasons. A, wanted to minimise carrying as much petrol as we could, from a safety and also from a crew safety point of view, rather than damaging your back carrying jerry cans around. We actually have a diesel refuelling station suited in the starboard engine room. It's been an awesome tender. It's really comfortable in this little bit of chop like we have today cruising around. We can easily carry 8 people in it and still do 20 knots, which is fantastic, especially in some of these anchorages where we're going to go and explore a few different snorkel sites in one little session. Also down here we've got our flight board, one of our favourite water toys. We've had that for 4 years. It's been a great piece of kit, and every skill level, from people that just never been on a board before and just cruise around in it on their stomachs to seasoned board riders, have loved the experience, and everyone comes back with a smile on their face.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed being on board in Fiji for a couple of days. Please get in touch if you'd like to have a chat about Manaia. Located currently in New Zealand. All my details are coming up below, so please get in touch. I'd love to talk to you about this beautiful, really cleverly spec'd 2023 Lagoon 77. Thanks and have a good day.